Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here. And my name is Usalme Akenzwa, Program Manager, LEAP Africa. We are a youth leadership development organization, and we've worked with young people over the last 20 years, trying to make sure that we're raising young leaders that will transform Africa. And it's a pleasure to be here on the platform today, live in Lagos, and we're just going to be standing on existing protocol, thanks to all of our speakers today. And we have the debate competition funded by the MacArthur Foundation and Ford Foundation. On the 3rd of August, we had young undergraduates who sat at home because the schools were not in session anymore, and the strike was not going to keep them sitting back at home. These young people, after a call for application was made, applied to lend their voices for change in Nigeria. It's a privilege, it's an honor to introduce to you today those students who have keenly contested over the last 6 to 8 weeks on the Youth Leadership Debate competition under the Nigeria Youth Futures Fund, which is supported by MacArthur Foundation and Ford Foundation. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, join me in giving a round of applause to these young students from across Nigeria who have emerged the finalists on this very incredible competition. So I won't waste much of your time, but before we go ahead, we also have some very special judges who are joining us to decide who the winner that would emerge today from this keenly contested competition. And with us today, we have Samson Itodo, who is the Executive Director of YAGA Africa and the convener of the Not Too Young to Run campaign. Thank you for joining us. Also with us today is our second judge, Yemi Adamolekun, and she is the Executive Director of Enough is Enough Nigeria. Please join us in welcoming. And then we also have representation from one of the sponsors of this particular program, Onye Mobi. She is the Program Associate for West Africa at Ford Foundation. Please join me in welcoming her. Thank you. The Nigeria Youth Futures Fund is created so that young people across Nigeria can begin to lend their voices for change. They can begin to imagine a new Nigeria, a new nation. Hence the hashtag on this competition, the Nigeria we want. Can I hear a chant in the room? The Nigeria we want.
Nigeria we want.
And these young people are going to be speaking up today and telling us what type of Nigeria they would like to see. The topic today was very deliberately put together so that there's alignment with the theme of this year's 15th anniversary of the platform Nigeria. And the topic goes thus: transformative leadership will come from the government, not the citizenry. At LEAP Africa, we are proponents of transformative leadership because we believe that once we get leadership right, everything falls into place. But today, we're going to have the two teams supporting and then opposing the motion. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce from the Ahmadu Bello University, all the way from the Ahmadu Bello University, Jafaru Amina. And we also have Ibrahim Usman Abubakar. And then we have Mukhtar Sadia, all from the Ahmadu Bello University. And then we move to UNIBEN, who's also in the final. And we have from the University of Benin, we have Oko Emmanuel. And then we also have Omira Victory Ochoa. All right. These young people are going to be speaking shortly. every team has 4 minutes for their opening argument, and then followed by a rebuttal from the second speaker. You have 2 minutes. And then the closing argument will last for exactly 1 minute. Debaters, you have the timer right in front of you. A bell will go off, and that would indicate that your time is up. If you are speaking at the time the bell goes off, you have the opportunity to complete your statement, and you would have to leave the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Nigerians, it's time for the Youth Leadership Debate Grand Finale. Supporting the motion, I would like to call the first speaker of Ahmadu Bello University to step forward and bring forward the opening argument. You have 4 minutes. Please, a round of applause for our first speaker from Ahmadu Bello University.
Leadership is the capacity to turn vision into reality. And vision is not about today, but tomorrow. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Amina Jafar from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and I stand to present the case. Transformative leadership comes from the government and not the citizenry. James McGregor Burns in 1978 defined transformative leadership to be the association of a leader and a follower to assist each other and evolve to a degree of success. Today, transformative leadership has many definitions, but one thing stands, that transformative leadership is the ability of a leader to cause a lasting change. The government is what is capable to cause lasting change, and I will tell you why. Active citizenship is the active participation of a citizen under the law. Let me take you a little back in time. After World War II, 51 countries came together in 1945. What happened? The United Nations was formed. The United Nations Transformative Leadership Framework is transformational at all levels, and the mission is to support and achieve lasting change. Now, in June 2012, the United Nations did something very incredible. They came together in turn and formed the Sustainable Development Goals. This says a lot about what the government can do in creating a lasting change. Today is the Independence Day in Nigeria. And I'm sure we know that citizens fought to achieve independence. But one thing was clear with these citizens. They knew that for them to be able to fight for the freedom of their people, they had to form a government. And the government was formed, and today we enjoy 62 years of independence. I'd like to tell a story about the situation that happened some years ago in Zamfara State, precisely in Anka local government. They were suffering from lead poisoning, and people were dying. Hamzat Lawal, a Nigerian like myself, decided to use his voice to amplify the problem, and the government immediately responded. Hamzat knew he could make change in the system, but he knew that transforming change that would last longer could only be done by the government. In conclusion, I would like to make it clear that I do not disregard the fact that a citizen can make change, but it is important to know the resources needed to make change. And to make change, you need power, and the government has this power. Long-lasting change is the core of transformative leadership. Anyone can create change, but long-lasting change needs to come from a place where you can get every resource you need to get what needs to be done. The government is going to bring transformative leadership. Thank you.
All right. There you have it. Thank you very much from Ahmadu Bello. To make change, you need power, and the government has the power. So says the Ahmadu Bello University. Let's move on to the side who will be Opposing that argument today, and let's invite the University of Benin to come forward. Please, a round of applause. You have 4 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, a few moments ago, we all stood up in solidarity and we made a loud declaration. We said, "Arise, O compatriots, Nigerians call obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith." Now, who are these compatriots? Is it one person? Is it a group of people? Or is it everyone who has the privilege of calling themselves Nigerians? It will be of interest to note that the highest office in a land is the position of its citizens, and these were the words of an elected leader, former President Barack Obama. Just as an employer is to an employee, so are citizens to the government. The citizens elect the government to serve them, and they are actually answerable to the citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, change will only come when we as citizens own our position and power to drive the change that we desire. I am Victory Ochua Omwera from the University of Benin, and I will be arguing against the resolve that states that transformative leadership will come from the government, not the citizens. In the course of this debate, or in the course of my argument rather, I'll be taking you on a journey to see reasons with me why citizens are the ones to drive transformative change. First of all elected leaders were first citizens. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency President Muhammad Buhari, was first a citizen before he was elected as a leader. So citizenship or transformative leadership starts from the citizens. We have to use a bottom-up approach to start bringing in good citizens who are educated and know their rights to then become good leaders who also can drive transformative change. Secondly, we live in a democratic environment, and democracy by definition is the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. That means there is no democracy without the people. It means that active citizenship is the goal. Third, transformative leadership is engaging others in an ethical manner to generate positive and lasting change. Ladies and gentlemen, where in this definition did I mention the government, or where in this definition did I mention a position? Leadership is not a position, it is an action. Look at the case of Martin Luther King Jr. He never held a political position, yet he was the youngest Nobel Peace Prize winner because of his civil rights movement, and he is the model of active citizenship, not only in America, but in the world today. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, my opponent argues that transformative leadership comes from the government, but what happens when this government tenure elapses? Does transformative leadership end there? No, transformative leadership is a journey and not a destination. So we must begin to educate citizens to know their rights, and then we educate them to keep government accountable, and also educate them to be good leaders themselves. And lastly, educate them on how to elect good leaders themselves. That is where the journey of transformation leadership begins. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. All right. So leadership doesn't end after the tenure of a political office holder. Those were the words of the University of Benin today. Okay. Seems like it's getting pretty interesting in the room. And I see that those of us in the room engaging with the arguments put forward by our debaters. We'd like to remind that the hashtag for this is the Nigeria we want. We'd like you to also tweet and put in the comments or whatever social media platform you're part of and begin to write the Nigeria you want based on some of the arguments here or other arguments that you may have. We'll be proceeding further in this keenly contested debate. I don't envy the judges right now. Does anybody in the room envy them? All right, and it's just the first speaker. So we move on to the second. It's my pleasure to invite to the podium the second speaker of Ahmadu Bello University.
The first speaker from the opposing side argued that asked the question, what happens when the tenure of the government ends? Governments usually carry out their tasks using policies. These policies don't stop when the tenure of a particular government ends. The policies continue. So there is nothing about discontinuity in governance. The opposition also argued that the citizens elect the government, so they are the ones carrying out the transformative leadership. But the opposition also forgot that the government are eventually the ones who eventually carry out this transformative leadership. It's just that the fact that the citizens elect them into office, and now they are in office, they are carrying out this argument. They are carrying out this, they are executing the policies and carrying out works. So the opposition also argued that they are first citizens, that President Buhari is actually first citizen before he is a leader. However, when they are in office, when they are carrying out this transformative change, they are leaders. They are leaders at that point when they are carrying out. The opposition also argued that democracy, that this is, so I'm here to tell us that this is not just about democracy, because there are countries in the world that don't practice democracy. There are countries in the world that practice monarchy. So are they to be done away with? Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Usman Abubakar from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and I am on the proposing side of this argument. Let us remember that the government is not a body of one person, but rather a body guided by policies directed to direct every sector for transformative leadership. We can all agree that major transformations that have happened in the world have been more through people in government than out of it. Examples include events of the 20th to 21st century, such as the ending of the World War II in 1945, launching of the first artificial satellite in 1957, and the first landing on the moon in 1969, among many others. These are transformative changes, and they definitely need all the resources they can get from the government to be able to execute these transformative changes. Transformative leadership is more conveniently and effectively executed by the government than by citizens. The current security challenges that is currently bedeviling this nation can only be addressed by the government, which has resources such as the military at its disposal. While there are citizens that have made attempts to cause changes in their various communities, governments have the biggest capacity and resources to make transformative change at scale. In conclusion, there is no doubt that citizens have their role to play in the development of their nation, but transformative leadership, which is for change and major reforms, will come from the government and not the citizenry. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can we encourage the second speaker there? It's never easy to stand in front of the entire nation on a day such as the occasion of the celebration of the 62nd independence and speak and address the nation. One more time, can we appreciate and encourage the second speaker? I did have to interject because the timing for the second speakers was actually 2 minutes. But because of that hitch along the way, it was only fair that we extend the time so that the gentleman can recover. I hope that that's okay. So we will do and extend the same favor and generosity to the second speaker. I now will be inviting to hear from the other side, the second speaker, reporting from the University of Benin. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please welcome the second speaker?
Ladies and gentlemen, while my opponent was speaking, he said, that there are other countries in the world that do not operate a democratic system of government but have transformative leadership. I will, however, point to a fact that is taking us away from the topic of this debate. The debate clearly states transformative leadership is the way. Transformative leadership will only come from the government and not the people, and not necessarily bringing up democracy. Thank you. I am Emmanuel Oko from the University of Benin, and I'm here to argue further against the resolve that transformative leadership can come from the government and not the citizenry. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to remind you that while there is no leader without a follower. What then happens when leadership turns sour? Who has the right to change these leaders, if not the followers? And in this case, it is the citizens. How long must we sit and wait as citizens while we wait for our leaders to change? Do we just stand by the sidelines and fold our arms while our infrastructure is depleting, our educational sector is in problem, our health sector is in problem, or do we take up actions as active citizens to ensure that these issues are properly addressed by our government? Secondly, let us consider the registration of permanent voters' cards this year. A report by Channels TV states clearly that INEC said, and I quote, that there was a record of an unprecedented surge in the registration of the permanent voters' card this year. What led to this surge, let me ask, ladies and gentlemen? Was it the influence of the government or the people? Let us consider the following examples. The examples I am listing are examples of everyday Nigerians, not Nigerians with political offices. For example, the likes of Reverend Father Carlos Godwin, who stopped members of his congregation from worshiping without their permanent voters card. Secondly, we have the likes of Mr. Femi Falana, a human rights activist who urged professional bodies to urge their members to go for permanent voters card registration. And thirdly, even our very own artists stood in solidarity and organized free parties and fan meetings with the entry point being only the permanent voters card. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I ask again, what led to this upsurge? Going to my last point, my opponent is arguing that transformative leadership comes from the government and not the citizenry. That is just like imagining one hand clapping. Can you imagine the sound of one hand clapping? We as a nation cannot focus and hope on one man or a group of people we call leaders to enact change. Instead, we should as a collective focus on active citizenship and transformative leadership to change our country by causing positive and lasting change in an ethical manner in Nigeria. Thank you.
Okay. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are at a point which I believe will be perhaps a deciding moment in this debate competition. And I appeal to us. I know that some points or some comments are resonating, but I appeal to us just to support the debaters, to please help with the side comments so that they're not too distracted. So I appeal to our audience. Thank you. I think this is very pivotal because we now have the closing statements from both schools. The first speaker has gone and been able to open the argument from the Ahmadu Bello University. The second speaker also has been able to rebut claims or suggestions made by the University of Benin, and vice versa. I will now be calling on the speaker from the Ahmadu Bello University. It's the closing argument. Nigeria, a closing argument from one of our university students on this topic, that transformative leadership will only come from the government and not the citizenry. Supporting that is the speaker from Ahmadu Bello. You have 1 minute for your closing argument. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the speaker that will be closing the argument from Ahmadu Bello University. Thank you.
The opposition stated that involving the monarchy is removing us from the premise of this debate. But if I am correct, we're talking about government and the systems of government. And what is the monarchy? Is it not a system of government? The opposition also said that, can you imagine the hands of one hand, or can you imagine the sound of one hand clapping? Meaning, and he equally went further to say that we cannot focus on one man to enact change. And that is a fallacy, because the government is not made up of one man, but a body of people and governed by a policy. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to be here. But I didn't come here to disregard the power of a citizen. I didn't, and never did I say that the citizen does not hold power. I, in fact, gave an example with Hamzat Lawa, but the opposition clearly disregarded the power of the government. Thank you.
Okay, it's getting pretty exciting in here. Very exciting. It's contagious. All right, so that we keep and maintain that momentum, I will move to the University of Benin to have their own closing argument in 1 minute. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the speaker from the University of Benin.
Ladies and gentlemen, yes, it takes 2 hands to clap, but it takes even more to make a loud ovation. I will not be standing here today to debate on this topic, if not for several reasons. I mean, I've been away from school for 7 months. It can almost make you apathetic towards the government. But I'm here for 3 reasons. Number 1, the kind of people I've surrounded myself with who inspired me to be patriotic. Number 2, the kinds of trainings I've received from patriotic citizens. And number 3, the good citizens who gave me this platform to state this case. Among these reasons, ladies and gentlemen, among these reasons, did I ever mention the government? No. Ladies and gentlemen, all I'm saying is that active citizens, we should own our power and hold our government accountable.
If I ever wanted to be a judge, not today. No, not today. Never today. And so our judges have quite a Herculean task today. Do you agree? To be able to decide the winner of this keenly contested debate on this occasion of Nigeria's 62nd celebration of independence. So, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Nigerians watching, can we please, if you're watching virtually, and you can put your clap icons in the comments, and for those of us, to these university students who have gone through such a grueling process, debating, lending their voices to issues that affect the future and the development of Nigeria. Who says that the youth don't have a voice? Do the youth have a voice? Do they have a voice? So we will be going to our judges to give comments. They will share their comments, and then we will go on a short break and return for the final verdict. But without wasting any time, I will proceed and ask our judges to share their comments. And in that process, they would also give some feedback to the debating schools. Each judge has 2 minutes so that we can proceed. Thank you very much, judges. I will begin with Onyinye because I see you've dropped your pen and you're ready for some feedback. So please would hear comments from our judges, and we'll start with Onyinye. Over to you, 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. But I think it's a very difficult task, like you noted. But I would say that the 2 groups, they were actually very clear on what the topic is. So beginning with the University of Benin, I found that they understand what transformative leadership meant. They were also clear about contextualizing the issues. There was a good balance of what the citizens need to do while not ignoring the role of the government, which I found very interesting. I think that their opening was also very clear, and the perspectives were good. I must commend the composure, the poise, the confidence of the speakers, and they did a good analysis of the topic. So, but I guess what they could have done better was also to provide some examples of where, putting all the powers on leadership had failed, just also to balance their idea of the role of the citizens. I was telling Yemi that perhaps she groomed them because they sounded more like what she campaigns for. Anyway, so that's about University of Benin. And for ABU, I actually commend that they started from a global understanding of what transformative leadership should look like. And they cited good examples of where it has worked. I also like that they did a good research and they looked at what the SDG is supposed to do for national development. But I thought that they could have also brought in the contextualized meaning of that into what nation building required and then bring it into transformational leadership. But they did a fantastic job with the definitions. So also their topic is a bit, right, good. Yeah.
Please. You can do the final statement so that you can, please go ahead and land on that.
Oh, okay, so no,
statement.
I know that their topic was tricky from their side, but they did well also to provide examples of where citizens also played a role in supporting government. So that's what I would say.
A round of applause for our George. A good balance, isn't it? Thank you. All right, Yemi, comments?
I'd really like to start by commending Amina and Victoria as young women who were extremely confident. Carried themselves with great poise in communicating and articulating their thoughts and responding as necessary. Really very proud of you guys. Very well done. I also want to commend Usman, who started a bit flustered, but bounced back and was able to continue with the arguments that he had prepared as opposition. Well done. And to the gentleman from the University of Benin, sorry I didn't get your name, but I love the fact that your rebuttal was, you focused on just one point, went straight to it, and then continued with your argument. Well done. The larger issue of the arguments, I think both teams did extremely well, and the focus of government was challenging as you guys started, but I love the fact that your point really was that government has resources, and government has power to get things done, and you made that the crux of your argument. And for citizens, I love your narrative around the fact that anybody in positional leadership starts first as a citizen, and then you built your argument on that and the power thereof. I will leave the rest as we vote, but I really want to just commend both of you, both teams, for coming to it very confident, having done your research very clear. And I love the way you ended, Victoria, around if you were going to argue against government or for government as a student who had been at home. Very well done, and we'll see how it goes.
Thank you very much. And not the least, finally, we're hearing from Samson.
Say, thank you very much for telling Nigerians and for demonstrating why the government needs to ensure ASU goes back to the classroom. I think Yemi and Onyinye just said it all. But my prayer for you both teams, is that some of you will make it to the National Assembly. Some of you will make it to the State House of Assembly, because the quality of debates that I have seen and the rhetoric is quite inspiring. There are people who sit in positions of power who don't inspire us. And I tell you, you guys have inspired me. and inspired us. So thank you. Thank you very much. The only thing I will add is the essence of evidence. Some of you shared your lived experiences, and your stories resonate with the stories of Nigerians who are out there. But I think the strongest point out of this debate is that for government to succeed, it needs the people. And there's no government anywhere across the world that has succeeded without trust. Trust from the citizens and trust from the leaders that occupy those offices. So as you go back, whoever emerges, please note that the key message here is that the responsibility of demonstrating transformative leadership rests both on those who are elected to serve and those who are electing to serve.
Very much. Can we please a round of applause for our judges? Very insightful feedback. And I'm sure that our debaters have taken that feedback and it would leave with them as they journey from here. The grand prize is actually a sum of 1.5 million naira. Courtesy the Nigeria Youth Futures Fund. And so, we won't be announcing the winner just yet. Go on a short break, and I believe we'll join the live studios while we allow our judges make that very, very difficult decision of who the winner of the debate, Youth Leadership Debate Finals on the 1st of October, 2022 will be. All right. So we will carry on. Okay. We will go ahead and just get the final scores from our judges. So whilst our judges are putting their scores together, I'm sure you would imagine that it's not a walk in the park for them this afternoon here in Lagos. Would like to ask that and remind you, if you are watching, or those of us in the room, to keep the hashtag, the Nigeria we want, and to tag the platform NG as well, the platform NG, for giving the platform for these young undergraduates. How many of us agree that young people actually have a voice? They have ideas. They have a strong message to convey if given the opportunity. Do we agree? Do we agree? And it's so interesting because we've had, I think, some transgenerational transfer of wisdom here in this room today from the lineup of speakers who are well accomplished in their fields, in their industry, coming in and teaching us about what next and what the new Nigerian leader that will take Nigeria to where we need to be should have or should do. All right. So, judges, are we ready, judges? Okay, a little more time. All right. A little more time. Ready? Ready to go. Okay? So I will walk towards the judges and I will peep just to get the name of the winning team. All right. The verdict is out. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. And I feel the sheer pressure myself, even having to announce it in front of such an engaging audience in the room this afternoon. And I'm hoping that I will be safe, even after announcing the winner. But I'm sure that we all in the room have listened, have heard, and have weighed the strengths of the arguments presented here today by both schools. And I think one important point mentioned by our judges is that both teams have been able to create a good balance and have been able to put forward very strong arguments today. If you will permit me to ask for another round of applause for our speakers and our judges. All right. Okay, so by unanimous decision from our 3 judges today at the platform Nigeria on the 1st of October 2022, I will be announcing the runner-up for this debate. Started on the 3rd of August, and here we are on the 1st of October. The runner-up that will be going home with a prize of 1 million naira is okay. The second place. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, fellow Nigerians, runner-up going home with a prize of 1 million naira is the Ahmadu Bello University. All right, well done, well done. I think we can invite the third members of the team also up. Please, this is the third member of the team. All the teams were made up of 3 to 4 students representing the university. And I think that they have done well. They have done well. Well done to the Ahmadu Bello University. Okay. This is the point where I would call on our winners for today. A debate that started many weeks ago, going home with 1.5 million naira, is the University of Benin. Our winners for the Youth Leadership Debate under the Nigeria Youth Futures Fund, supported by MacArthur Foundation, Ford Foundation. We have our winners today. So I'll put it presentation. All right, thank you. Thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We'll have the dummy checks now that will be presented to them. And interestingly, at Leap Africa, when we had the lineup of speakers today, one of the speakers somehow happens to be a board member. And it's my honor to welcome Dr. Joe Abba to support in the presentation of the dummy checks to the winners today. So we'll start with the runner-up. Please, can we appreciate Dr. Joe Abba? I would also invite our Acting Executive Director at Leap Africa, Ms. Kehinde Ayeni, to come up stage also and join in the presentation. Please, a round of applause for her. Thank you very much. This had been put together by the team at Leap Africa. Thank you. All right, so we'll be presenting the check to the first runner-up. The first runners-up over here, Ahmadu Bello University. I also welcome our Director of Programs, Ms. Amabel Wakama. Thank you very much. Okay, so please, can we have the presentation to the finalists? So maybe just here. So just here. Please step forward. All right. Please, once again. All right. For second place on the youth leadership debates. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Well done, Ahmadu Bello University. Well done. Well done. Well done. All right. Nigeria, there you have it. I would also like to invite our second runner-up. They will be going home with a prize of 600,000, and they are the University of Ilorin. Please invite the University of Ilorin. Can we have you? Debate speakers from the University of Ilorin. Can we have you step forward? Please appreciate them. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. You're welcome. Well done, young Nigerians, undergraduates, doing so much with their time at home and refusing to just sit back. So well done, well done, well done. Nigeria, second runner-up. Thank you, well done. Well done, thank you. Thank you, well done. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Okay, thank you. And then I will just invite also to join, and I think the judges would also join this presentation and maybe just a photograph as well. And I would invite the project lead, Mr. Okpeyemi Oriniowo of the Nigeria Youth Futures Fund to make the presentation to our winners for today, all the way from the University of Benin. Congratulations. Congratulations. The University of Benin, please step forward. Please step forward for the presentation of your prize. They're going home with 1.5 million naira. But more than that, they're going home having been able to present their argument, their strong convictions to Nigeria today. I would like to appreciate the judges. Yemi Adamolekun, thank you so much. Thank you, Onye from Ford Foundation, also supporting the project. Thank you, Samson Itodo. Thank you to our debaters. Thank you to the platform for the opportunity to have our young people speak to the nation on such an incredible occasion of the anniversary, 62nd anniversary of Nigeria's independence. Thank you. Thank you so much. Once again, on behalf of Leap Africa, Ford Foundation, and the MacArthur Foundation, under the Nigeria Youth Futures Fund, I'd like to say a big thank you to Pastor Poju and Pastor Tony for the opportunity and the entire platform team for allowing us bring this to Nigeria. Thank you. God bless Nigeria, and God bless the platform. Happy Independence Day.